I literally am working on my book of Revelation. And in chapter 17, it's Mystery Babylon, the Mother of Harlots. And I wrote articles throughout the book of Revelation and Mystery Babylon, and I wrote it maybe it's 3-4 years ago. And I've been doing a lot of research, discussing eschatology with some of my colleagues, some of my friends, reading some other books. I think Saudi Arabia is clearly involved, but I'm not positive that there's not a little bit of qualification that has to be given. I still think it began in Iraq or ancient Babylon, and from there it slid over to Arabia, Saudi Arabia, which is now the one is the head of it. But I think when we talk about where it all started, it was with Nimrod and Semiramis. And so I can't just, in a few words, explain, and I'm even doing research myself to clarify for my own thinking where I'm at. It's not Rome. I have no question about that. Certainly not New York. It's not, well, there's a lot of commentators who were saying, hey, it looks like New York, for some reasons that were very weak, in my opinion. So I'm rethinking how I would express on my chapter, on Revelation chapter 17, Mystery Babylon, the Mother of Harlots. I love that chapter, and I think it is very important. And I was kind of pleased with what I had done on it when I wrote it 3 or 4 years ago. But as I'm looking back at it now, I'm saying I'm going to have to smooth out a little bit or word it a little bit different and say, well, I think this is it, but this could be a part of it too, so I'm not sure. So I'm not ready to make a public comment on that yet. I would say, if they ask me, is it Rome? No, it's not Rome. And I'm comfortable with Saudi Arabia and the arguments for it, but I also think you can't dismiss totally Iraq, ancient Babylon, Genesis chapter 9, 10, I think has a lot to say, I think, about the beginning of all false religion. And I think that building the Tower of Babel was to establish a one world religion, globalism. And the Tower of Babel was to try to, the one was globalism, was political, and the Tower of Babel is religious, to worship the sun from a higher elevation. And it's tied to Nimrod and his wife Semiramis and Tammuz, their son, and they worship the sun. And I have to go into a lot of detail, but so I'm not ready to say that in the sermon publicly. I'll get there. It's not a problem. It's just the best way to word it and make sure I'm comfortable